Hello, church. My name is James Fontanet with the South Ministry of the DFW Church. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you how some of the recent killings involving black men have impacted me, particularly because I see these events through three separate lenses: as a black man, as a police officer, and as a disciple of Jesus. As a black man, I can remember my dad regularly cautioning me and my two younger brothers as black men to always be aware of where you are when you go out because of the color of our skin. He advised us, don't get involved in wrongdoing, don't get involved with others who are participating in wrongdoing. Always, if stopped by the police, don't talk back, and to just do what they tell you to do. After viewing some of the footage of the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, I was stunned. I was consumed with a feeling of helplessness. It caused me to remember the events I had heard about as a child and teen from my dad and my uncles who grew up into their adult lives. They grew up in Louisiana. I remember them telling us about the events about black men being hunted down at random by mobs and being lynched. I remember hearing the hurt in their voices and just seeing the disgust in their faces as they told these stories to us. The Arbery video footage did not seem real. To see something like that happening would appear to me to be a similar type of event in this day and age as lynching, as my dad and uncles described to us. As a police officer, I worked in law enforcement in the Los Angeles, California area for 31 years. I didn't see everything, but I've seen a lot. After 31 years in law enforcement, I can say with confidence the great majority of police officers do what's right and do what they should be doing. It's the very small minority that do wrong. But because there's such a high expectation of integrity for police officers, it only takes a very small minority who do wrong to demolish relationships between police officers and civilians. After viewing some of the video footage of the killing of George Floyd, I was really disturbed emotionally to the point of actually feeling hurt, physically feeling hurt. What struck me most was to see the actions of Derek Chauvin. While keeping his knee on the neck of George Floyd, he looked directly at bystanders who were pleading with him to release his knee from George's neck. He looked at them as if to say, I could do whatever I want to do, regardless of what you say. Chauvin, in my opinion, showed no regard for George's condition and seemed to deliberately continue to press his knee unnecessarily on George's neck, even after George lost consciousness. Despite the assisting officers questioning Chauvin about George's condition, Chauvin still showed no regard for George's condition. After paramedics arrived at the scene, it was appalling to see how Chauvin continued his abusive and demeaning treatment of George by recklessly dragging George's lifeless body, which was still in handcuffs, on the ground and onto a gurney. As a disciple, I've been a disciple for 23 years. Still, It was appalling to see the power Satan wields over people. Satan convinced Gregory and Travis McMichael to chase down and kill Ahmaud Arbery. Satan also convinced Derek George that he was God and could, at will, take the life of George Floyd. As a disciple, I must seek understanding first through God and His Word, remembering this is a spiritual battle. I cannot fight this battle by worldly means. After watching the recent devotional by Michael Burns, I feel I need to remember Jesus cared about justice, the true justice that is God's kingdom. Jesus stood up for the oppressed and offered justice to all as the sacrificed lamb. My hope and belief are that through dialogue with one another, especially those in power, and through more knowledge of one another, change will happen. It can and it must. Thank you for allowing me to share.